Welcome back to Beer There Drunk That. We lost someone and gained someone else. An
It's all it's
angel
all
in heaven.
it's all net negative net even,
Not
right? Not net
even.
negative.
Net neutrality.
Thank you for that.
Take net negative. I'm not looking to fill shoes. I'm looking to be there in the shoes.
Hold on. Am I missing something, or
No,
is
I've
that
got
is that filling shoes?
no. I'm not looking to. Just that I can.
Stand in the footprint.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Okay,
All right.
respect. For those of you that don't know, sitting next to me, I have Kyle Kuzniar, aka Kuz. And he's down in New Jersey this like 5 days, and we're gonna have a good time. Donnie, what are you up to?
Not a whole lot. As I just told you guys, it was a long week at work, and I got home. I walked into the liquor store down the street. I bought a six pack of Dogfish Head 60-minute IPAs.
And finish them all.
Yeah, I'm feeling great. No, I chugged one when I got home. Felt great about it. Now I'm about to crack open a peach blonde ale from Public Craft Brewing down in Kenosha.
Kenosha
Yeah, reaches for peaches, baby. This beer's a banger.
reaches for that sounds really good, actually.
It's we had a work awards dinner there around like the holidays, and they just
Yeah.
had like cases of beer out, and there was like four packs, like these seven beers, like all four packs are $5. And so like I was not the only one leaving with beer, but there was people with leaving with a lot more beer than me. Uh,
That's all you need. You need a pace car, right? So as long as you're not the pace car, that's all that matters.
yeah, exactly. And like we had drink tickets to the event, but then like by the end of it, we were just kind of like chatting with the bartenders, and I was like, "Well, like I don't want to start a tab or anything like that." He goes, "I'll just pour you beer for free, bro." And his secret blend was he took their I he had like a weirdly specific ratio. I can't remember if it was like around 90%, like 90, 95% Irish dry stout, and then like
Oh,
5% root beer.
oh,
Oh,
And it was just like it just added enough like vanilla and like sweetness and like really rounded it out. I gotta try making it. I gotta go buy some freaking mug root beer and throw it in a They have like draft root beer though, so it's probably better than a can of mug.
yeah. Just step that up with some sort of like craft breweries like root beer, and you'll be good to go. You'll
Yeah,
rock
I'll,
it.
I'll get Sprecker's root beer out here.
Oh, there we go. Go to Menards and grab some.
Yeah. Are you Midwestern?
I lived in Omaha for like 5 years, so
Okay. I'm like
I know the moves down there. I know what's going on.
yeah, yeah, okay. I'm like Menards is like very Midwestern.
I forgot that like there's a little Midwestern connection there.
Yeah,
For some reason, like in my mind, Omaha, Nebraska is like essentially Hawaii.
In terms of how far away it is.
Yeah, yeah. But like California's closer than Omaha in my mind for some reason.
not the worst thing I've heard. So my uh, I guess grandmother-in-law, basically for the first 2 years I was there, thought I was lying to her that I was in Omaha because she said Omaha is not real. I'll quote her on that. She was like, Peyton Manning talks about Omaha. Omaha is not a city; it's just a football play. And I can't like fault her because old people are very sweet. Older generations are very sweet. I won't call her old. That's
Yeah, we get a lot of old people listening to this.
When you
yeah,
say
They get
politically
offended.
correct,
yeah. I know. Well, listen, old people love beer as well.
older
It's a
generations.
connection. There we go. Thank you. I'll
Yeah,
be more. I gotta work on
yeah, yeah.
it.
I always forget how it does. Okay, like looking at Omaha right now. I
Oh,
mean,
it's in the middle.
yeah, because like that, it's 8 hours from where I live, basically.
Yeah, you're close,
Damn.
It's
close-ish to everything, but actually close to nothing.
Yeah, it's well, again, that's kind of how I feel though, is it's like I'm not it's like it's like 6 hours to Minneapolis, like six
Mhm.
hours to like basically anything like St. Louis, Kansas City. Um, even like Des Moines is probably around 6 hours. Indianapolis, Cincinnati, like Louisville, those are all like pretty much 6 hours, give or take 30 minutes. Uh, Detroit even for that matter, which is like fucking weird because you have to drive around a whole lake.
Yeah, 6 hours, 8 mile. Um, the dude, like the Midwest, it throws me off geographically because I feel like it's like a all right, for those of you that have seen the Guardians of the Galaxy, the Midwest is like a time jump to me.
It The
That's how
thing
I feel
is it
about the
doesn't feel like
Midwest.
a time jump traveling through it because
Right.
everything looks the same.
Yeah, you fall asleep, you see the same tree in the same field, you're like, oh, I guess I blinked. You're like, oh no, I've been asleep for four
Yeah.
hours.
Yeah, because once you start getting like through like Iowa and like into like Nebraska, it's just corn.
uh, Western Nebraska is probably the worst driving that I actually think it's purgatory and God created it to punish uh disobedient people.
I've heard
Uh,
good things about Lincoln though. I heard people like Lincoln too.
I mean, I lived in Omaha for 5 years. I love Omaha. Lincoln's a college town, so it's got that going for it.
Yeah.
Saturdays during football season, it's popping, but outside of that, your money's better off spent on Omaha.
It's
Uh,
fair.
I, but that's a little biased. So
I mean, you got Creighton, like
yeah,
go Jays.
Creighton and the Mavs are playing tonight at 9:30 UNL. So
Oh
Mm,
man.
more of a hockey town though. So
it's fair
that's all right.
for the hockey guys.
We tried.
That plays into it a little bit, I think.
Probably a little bit. Wait, hold on. You're forgetting the most important thing about Omaha, the College World Series.
It's true.
That's a lead. That's unreal. Well, you were out there.
Yeah.
Or the Gamecocks were fucking nasty for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Jackie Bradley Jr., Whit
Yeah.
Merrifield.
Well, that was a little before
A
you.
little
Oh,
bit
that's
before, yeah.
yeah. Oh fuck.
But right team, right team.
They were played together. Fuck. I'm
Yep,
trying to remember
yep.
those. I'm trying to remember those Gamecock teams. Who was on them?
I did.
I don't
Hell if I
know.
know.
They're
I'm
just
not even
always there. I
trying.
do remember that. They were always in the Jello shot competition. They'd run just down the
The
street.
Jello shot
Do you not know
competition?
about this?
Wait,
No.
You tell it, Coos, because it's like it's one
all
of the craziest things about the College World Series.
right. So one of the bars, like literally a block from the stadium, like right around there is like the old market district. And that's like the spot to go out and party in
Okay.
Omaha. It's got the best restaurants, the best bars. And during the College World Series, when you live in Omaha, you just don't bother because like it's fun to experience once and then you don't ever go again because it is just insane. But one of the bars there draws crowds by doing every team there gets basically a scoreboard. And so they'll put up jello shots. You have to buy the jello shots, obviously. And every jello shot bought leads to your team getting a tally mark. So in the end, like usually the schools from down south that travel well, so like the LSUs will usually just run the table on the
Yeah,
jello
I've
shot
heard
competition.
LSU is a big one. I just texted you a picture, Keegan. I'm
Yeah,
looking at
LSU parties.
yeah, I'm looking at
They always
hold
have
on, here's
fun.
another one. They implemented a 50-cent price increase, but look at the fucking numbers
Yeah.
on the
Holy
second one I'm
So
sending you. The
so that's
2023
the
one. Look at
jello
the
shot market.
2023 one.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So
Like it's
Oh, 68,000 for LSU?
yeah,
What are we talking about here?
it's insane down there. You can't drive down there because like we're in danger.
Dude, Rocco's must make like their entire year's worth of revenue from the Jello shots. They could close the rest of the year.
I'll say this: I've only been to Rocco's around the World Series, and
so
just to experience the atmosphere.
that's $344,000 off Jello shots just from LSU.
Oh my God. And it's not like all right. So for you listeners, like the next closest one. So LSU, 68,888 Jello shots in 2023. The next closest one, Wake Forest, 7,622 Jello shots. That is a 61,000 Jello shot delta between those two for those of you keeping track at home.
And for like reference too, the other teams on here aren't like shitty like one-off like college baseball teams. Like Wake Forest is the pitching factory in college sports. Like Tennessee's up there. Tennessee's been great. Virginia has been awesome. They've had
Didn't
some
Tennessee
great
like win it last year?
I don't know if they won it, but they were like
They were deep. They ran
they
a
were
run. They made a
they had the
run.
best
Yeah.
regular season record, I think. But like Virginia's had some awesome stories. TCU always awesome. Like Florida's got some really good guys coming out of there. Like you know, Stanford is like nerd school, and they've got the stupid tree mascot. But like, it's the ugliest mascot in college sports.
No, no,
No,
no.
no.
I got Donnie. I got one better, and I found
Is
it
it the
because of
high?
Caitlin.
Was it the High Point Panther? Because I saw that on TV earlier, and that thing is an uncomfortable shade of purple, and it's too uniform a color. I thought I was gonna shit myself. I was in a conference room at work watching March Madness as we do this time of year, and
Right,
it
right.
was just brutal. I was like, they let it be that purple.
Oh, it's bad.
Oh, that's really purple.
It's right. The whole thing is just purple.
That's really purple. Well, let me tell you this at least. So, oh, the Friar is
The
bad. The Providence Friar,
Providence
definitely not
Friars gotta
great.
be top
Yeah, that's
up
bad one
there.
too. I've seen him.
So, Donnie, I'll encourage, and whoever hasn't seen this mascot, Caitlin found online UNCSA, the University of North Carolina School of Arts. They are the University of North Carolina School of Arts fighting pickles. And
Wait,
I no
do you know about RISD,
RISD.
Rhode Island School of Design?
I've heard, yeah, yeah, I've heard of it.
Look up their mascot right now. Coos, pull that shit up.
Donnie, go pull up that pickle though.
So
University of
the
North
so
Carolina School of Arts.
uh
Brody? No
Oh,
shot. Why does he have blue balls?
oh my God. This can't be real.
No shot.
go Nads, baby. I'm not even kidding. That's real. No,
They're
that's what they
actually called
say.
the balls.
It's real,
Bro,
dude.
what?
Their mascot is Scrody the Scrotum. It's a penis for anyone who's keeping track at home.
I hate that there was one that had like blue balls too. That's wild.
I think I think
Scrody is the unofficial mascot of the Rhode Island School of Design. The character is a giant anthropomorphic human penis. The mascot is known for his aggressively vulgar persona and for often dry humping the mascots of other schools.
correct.
What the hell?
Is it a hockey game? You know, it's a hockey game.
He knows.
Okay, that pickle is horrendous.
It's so bad. The tutu's bad. Everything's
The
bad.
mustache, the glasses, it I would probably light that on fire if I saw it and hope no one's in there so I wouldn't commit a crime. But yeah, I always forget about Scrody, and then I got a couple beverages in me, and I go, "Hey guys, you guys want to know my favorite mascot?"
Just thinking about Scrody.
Once you see it, it's like burned in your brain too.
I'm never gonna not be able to see Scrody. Like
The coloration is pretty
yeah.
wild. I'm not gonna lie.
It's too realistic.
I got him on the ice, man. Like that's just brutal.
The worst part is that it like you can still see the dude's head. Like he has a
Yeah.
fit, like you can still see his face. And you either have to rock it or look depressed.
I think the general theme is to rock it, though. I
I
think it's
would
a
hope
sense of
so.
pride. I You got to. I kind of like it. Go Nads.
Go Nads has to be the funniest thing ever.
Yeah. People look at me funny when I say roll tech. Wait until the Go Nad starts coming out.
The
I want a jersey now.
gonads stuff. I do have a University of South Carolina club hockey jersey. that just says Cox.
Yeah. I was dropping that earlier when someone was saying they said something about South Carolina. I was like, "Go Cox!" And
Go
the girl I
Cox.
work with like looked at me, and goes, "Excuse me?" And I'm like, "South Carolina Gamecocks, anyone?"
But its official mascot
Bueller,
name's Cocky.
Cocky,
Cocky,
yep.
yeah.
Cocky. Yeah. All
And
right.
and the rooster that comes out for the football games, Sir Big Spur.
As I thought it would be.
Kind of sick.
Yeah.
Kind of sick. You know what else is kind of sick? Not this first beer I drank. It was very mid.
Damn. Hate to hear
Yeah.
that.
So the first beer, not chronologically, but like in presenting order, um, from Killsborough Brewing Company, which is in Staten Island. You know, try it. Okay.
People go there.
Um,
They
I
make
did
beer.
not.
They make beer in Staten Island.
They do apparently. Those Italians, they get after it a little bit. Yeah.
I just had a beer splash in my eye for
I
anyone.
saw like the blink and I was like, wait, did he just get shot or something? Like,
No, it did
are
like
we
the
good?
drippity drop when it came down off the side of the glass.
Um, so for me, this beer, it was more so they claim it as a Berliner style Weiss with blueberry.
Okay. You're
This
predisposed to
more
liking blueberry beers.
right. So I saw it and I was like, oh shit, that's gonna be good. I gave this a 3.25 on Untapped. So like not bad,
Hmm.
but like not great. I to me it was more it fit more of a sour category than like a blueberry ale kind of thing, in my opinion.
Which
Um,
I think is a Berliner Weiss is technically a sour, and like it's just weird.
so I
You
just
see Berliner Weiss and you think like German white beer.
yeah, so I mean I was thinking like definitely something light bodied, which this is, but I wasn't expecting as much of the sour. I guess maybe because like in some of the blueberry beers that I like, it feels like it's more of a like sugary blueberry than like a true blueberry. To me, this was more like a natural, like tart blueberry beer.
Okay.
That was kind of I feel like the difference. Whereas like again with some of those blueberry beers that I love, they're more like sugary sweet. This was like tart with some blueberries. So I think it's more of like a natural blueberry versus a like fun blueberry is how I'll call it. But
Okay, like more like less blueberry candy.
yeah, exactly. Like more like you pop a blueberry into your mouth, and it has that little bit of tartness at the start, and then it's just kind of sweet at the end.
Okay.
Um, kind of like that. So it's more of like the forefront of the blueberry, in my opinion. Um, but yeah, I mean it's not bad. It's just not like I'd go for other blueberry beers before this for sure.
Interesting. I'm glad you're expanding the blueberry palette though.
I'm trying to push the limits here.
Nice. I guess I can go with my first beer. So I drank this beer right before I was about to go to the Irish pub down the street on St. Patrick's Day. I was pre-gaming, just going to a bar by myself,
Love that.
as one does. This is from a brewery that so Matt reviewed their beer on one of our sour episodes. And I only had one of their beers before. I don't get them as much. I think they're out of like Tulsa, Oklahoma. Prairie Artisan Ales. Beer's called Tropicals. So
Ooh,
these are all the fruits that are in the beer, hanging out, having a pool party. It's a sour ale with mango, cara oranges, grapefruit, passion fruit, and coconut cream flavor. Um,
okay.
8%er though.
Oh,
Um, it was like I said, sweet sour gone. It was like it had like that nice balance of like sour and sweet that kind of like played on each other. Um, it was really easy drinking. Like tartness came up front, and then you got a lot of mango flavors, and then the bulk of the end of it was like a lot of coconut. You could tell it wasn't like real coconut, but it was like almost sunscreeny in like a good way.
mm.
Um, I will say I like it didn't taste like an 8%, but then when I like stood up after drinking it, I was like, "Oh, I just drank an 8% beer in a relatively short amount of time."
You know what's funny, Don, is we had the same experience about 3 hours ago. Yep. So Coos again is visiting me in New Jersey, and I had to go into Manhattan for a little bit of work today. But afterward, we went to John's at Bleecker Street.
Classic.
Well known. I think one of my favorite pizza spots in the city. No free ads. So John's, you owe me a pizza. And so after I was like, oh, cool. Like we have to go to a beer store. We got to find something like to drink for this episode. So again, like kind of cutting it a little bit close. I had one of my beers yesterday, but overall cutting it close to the episode. And we found this really cool spot called Carmine Street Beers, which is where we got four beers, not too unreasonably priced, $30 or so, which for craft beer, not super unreasonable. And then we had a couple beers on draft because obviously you got to try something as well. Do you want to talk about the Quebec one?
The Quebec one was a double IPA, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
like
easy double IPA.
the reason we ended up choosing that one is the first one we chose like brownie caramel stout. And we got that on tap, and we're like, we want something extremely different for our other one. He's like, well, this is as far as you can go. So he poured us that, and it looked like I was just going to be tasting just that kind of like bitter hoppiness, like from the pour, from the smell, everything about it screamed like a really hoppy but like slightly fruity taste to it. But it hit your like tongue, and immediately like I've had juicy IPAs before. I mean, this was a complete juice box. I
Huh.
We finished it between the two of us in probably like 4 or 5 minutes. It went quick. It was the easiest drinking double IPA I've had like ever, and it did not look like it. I think it was what was the percentage? I
Like
think it was an
18.
eight-ish, like pretty close to what you were having, Donnie.
Hmm.
And just I was like, oh, this isn't anything. And then I stood up and I was like, oh no, oh no.
What was it called?
Um,
Oh
Holy
God, if
crap!
I
Did
know,
you
I
not
should. I
untap it?
didn't. I didn't untap it. I didn't take a picture. It was a really bad mistake. I
Oh,
want to play. Wait, hold on.
we'll find it. It's on there.
You can. You want to talk about
So
your one of your beers while
yeah,
I'm looking it up?
I guess while we're killing some time there, we'll talk about mine. I went with not only a brewery that I haven't had before, but I also went with a style for both of my beers for a beer that I don't generally reach for. Stouts to me have always been a dessert beer. Everything that I've like kind of experienced with beers through either my buddies or my aunt, who's really big into like exploring out on different beers. So she's big on kind of going through, and stout she always pushes like, hey, last beer of the night, have it for a quick like sweetener at the end. It'll set you good for the rest of the night. So my first beer I went with was Bodega Cat, which was an oatmeal stout from Kings County Brewers Collective out of Brooklyn. I was really kind of surprised. It was only a 5.9. It was a beer that tasted heavier than what it resulted in.
Hmm.
But at the same time, it had this nice kind of like smooth feel to it that you really get a lot, I think, from my experience with darker kind of stout beers, where you really don't just get punched in the face. It really is like having a coffee after a really nice meal. And I think that's the closest thing I can equate the Bodega Cat oatmeal stout that I had from them too. I really enjoyed it. I mean, I'm looking at my two beers right now. I definitely was slacking and poured them just before the episode here. And it's, I'll get to my second beer. It's not as sweet. It's a little bit more just smooth and really just a nice ride through it. It just kind of begs to be finished almost. And
I
I can
like
kind
that.
of feel it. So yeah, I'm not displeased with trying a new type. Well, not new type, but I mean I've had stouts before, obviously, but a new brewery's kind of take on it. I've really enjoyed it so far.
That
Yeah.
was that was beautiful.
Yeah. Poetic.
Oh, maybe
Yeah.
maybe tear up a little bit. That was nice. I did find so Donnie the Quebecois beer that we had. It's called the Reaper. I believe that is pronounced Messorium, Messorem.
Missile.
Yeah, sure, sure. Love that.
I have a French name and I don't speak French, so like,
Sounds better
Sure, I
than what I
like
said.
it. Yep, that's way better than what I said.
oh, I can fake it, dude. I can fake anything like that. No, that does sound really good. And as you're talking Coos, you almost reminded me of, you definitely did remind me of brewery. Uh, Sophie and I go to a lot out here called Indeed. Keegan's heard me talk too much about
Yeah.
them. Uh, they have an espresso martini dark lager on draft right now. And
Oh,
and like every time we go, it's like a little I always get like a little port, I ask my buddy there, I'm like, "Hey Gary, can you give me like a little half pour of it?" And he's like, "Yeah." And that's just like, we split it and we kind of just sip on it and it's the perfect nightcap like you said, because
Yeah.
it's smooth like a lager and it's like true like dark like espresso cold brew flavor. Which I'm not a huge coffee guy, like, I always say I'm good for like at most one a week. But this is just phenomenal. Like it was really really cool.
Yeah. I definitely could get that. And like, I think that's like a really big strength of like stouts that I've found, like, as I've kind of had them more often, is that they can branch into that kind of, they can grab the people who don't necessarily love beer because you can offer it up as a desserty type feel to it. Like an espresso martini, like I know a ton of people who don't drink beer that lean into those, and the flavor and kind of the, it sounds really weird to say, but like when you have them, you know it. The consistency of a beer like that is really going to draw you in. And I think that's a really big strength of one of those. So I could see that being a huge draw for something like that.
Yeah, I always find it interesting. Like my stepmom only likes dark beers. Like stouts and porters are all she drink. Like if she's not drinking like like wine or a cocktail, like she's like no dark beer. She's like dark beers only.
just fill me up.
She doesn't drink like a lot of them at a time, but
Yeah.
uh, it's like whenever I go to like the beer store and stuff, and I like make a pack, when we like for like the holidays when I'm home, I always I always make like one or two like porter stout packs, like mix of six for her.
Nice. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Um, Donnie, I did find the other beer that this one. So from Well the Works Brewing Company, it's a salted caramel brownie stout.
Ho 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 ho, ho
Like,
baby.
yeah.
Unreal, right? And so to me, I'm like, all right, juicy hazy IPA. Like it'll probably be up there a little bit, but that's an 8.1. This beer is only a 5.8% ABV. Like it just feels for the richness that it had, like it felt really low. Because it drank heavy, in my opinion. I think it was just like it definitely had the sweetness.
Yeah.
You had the caramel, like, and then it kind of like brownie richness.
I think the caramel really stood out on the tongue, and then the
Mhm.
chocolate for like the brownie that they're trying to get to really stuck with you, kind of with that aftertaste almost.
Right. Yeah,
And yeah, it definitely felt like it should have been the thing to knock my socks off, and it just wasn't, which I guess wasn't a bad thing by any means, but
I
it's
think
definitely different.
I think with those heavy dessert stouts, it's like a 50-50 shot if it's gonna be like this absolute like booze bomb of a beer. Or it's gonna be like you're gonna feel like you just drank a brick and then also had like drank a brick and it's super sweet at the same time,
for
Like
sure.
and it's way lighter.
I mean, you almost said it too. You were like, if I had to say like I get one sip of beer for the rest of my life, you almost said like that caramel brownie stout. Like for one sip is good, but like as far as a unique beer, that hazy IPA was like what you go to if you're on the beach.
Yeah, it was for a beer to be that like high in percentage and just give me straight up I'm drinking out of a juice box, just threw me for a loop. Especially comparing that to like the brown caramel chocolate brownie stout we were drinking, where like the thing that was knocking me on my socks was something where I'm tasting these tropical fruits. I'm just like, this is incredible, but also like I just think that there's a magic in creating what you think is a heavy beer and not having it just absolutely throw you into a blender right afterwards.
Uh,
Um, I really appreciated that there.
I found this place that you went to, Carmine Street Beers. Did you guys get the 2018 BCS wheat wine?
Dude,
Okay.
listen, I wanted to, and we didn't. But they had, and I meant to tell you about. I take a picture and send it to you guys. They have a wall full of like 2017 to 2024. I think I saw Bourbon County Stouts, and then they also had this little three pack, 2017, 2018, and 2019.
Dude, those things age so well. Like
And
I had I
I was eyeing the hell out of them.
I think I had the 2019 like original stout on draft at like a work thing and it was like drinking straight butter. It was phenomenal.
Maybe we should have gone.
Well, there's always tomorrow.
I'm just saying like there's some variants from a couple years ago that I'd love to try too. I know, I had that cola one from Surly. I'd love to see how I think Goose Island did it in 21 or 22. They did the cola stout.
They had like a biscotti one too that I was
Yeah,
like,
Mhm.
that was the
oh,
third
that sounds
option that I
good.
was looking at.
So maybe we'll go back and like just indulge a little bit in
We get
some Goose
some
Island.
small import.
If you guys can find like my thing is always finding something like that on draft or like where I can try it because I don't want to buy a 15 to $30 bottle of beer all the time.
Right.
But if I can have, it every so often, like for a little bit in a glass pour, yeah, I'll go for it.
That's listen,
I
I'm with you. I'm with you. Save me some money.
So just looking at the 2021, they do have the cola. 2021, they did a Blanton's stout.
Oh
Um,
wait, I gotta see if I
like
can find that, like the
the
whiskey.
whiskey,
The
like the
whiskey.
horse whiskey.
Yeah, dude,
yes,
Caitlin's dad is collecting the horse
Okay,
whiskey.
yeah,
all right.
The and what,
Uh,
I don't know if I told the story on here, but so Caitlin's dad is collecting the Blanton's horses, and I think yeah, like maybe I took them for what I don't know, I forget what it was, but like his family got him two of them, one for Christmas and one for his birthday, and the letters they got him were N and O because his favorite word
is
no.
no.
Yeah. Yep. And so, and his reaction is one of my favorite reactions ever. He just goes, "Oh, that's bullshit. That's bullshit."
That's
But I
awesome.
do. He did. He poured a little bit of the blends, and like it is smooth. It's definitely smooth. I like the Buffalo Trace too. Honestly, like yeah, just like to sip on it.
okay,
Like I
yeah.
think it's pretty slick. Um, yeah.
Well, just know that I do have some of those as I collect them older bottles of BCS that will be appearing later this year with you guys in attendance, is all I'm
I
saying.
love that. I love that. I have a couple in my pantry that I gotta let loose a little bit, but
Dude, I debated. I'm like, do I just drink one on like by
just
myself?
just to say you did.
Yeah, and then I'm like, I'm gonna feel horrible no matter what I do the next day. And I'm gonna feel horrible if my beer glass runs dry, so I gotta take a break here right quick.
Good call. Good call. We'll see you in a little bit, Donnie.
Sorry about that. We got too chatty in the middle of this, but Kuz and I are talking about Midwestern values.
Yeah, I mean, like, so we kind of were getting into like just not day drinking only, but like drinking being part of the culture.
It's
And
amazing how much like people are like, yeah, we just what do you mean you just don't go get a drink anytime you're bored?
yeah, like I like genuinely like I mean everyone like obviously like Bush Light's not this gourmet thing, right? But I mean it serves its purpose for being a solid cheap option. And
Hmm.
like genuinely I've seen more people drink Bush Light at dinner than people ordering water. And that's
Oh,
okay.
agreed.
That's 100% okay, like to me. Um,
Yeah, like it's amazing too, like because Milwaukee is beer city, the like factions that each like classic beer has out here. Like you have your Miller people, you have your PBR people, you have your Schlitz people, which you have your Old Mill people. Like I was at the liquor store before this. down the street from me, and I was just one of those days. I'm like, I want a new beer. Like I said, when I was gonna buy that Dogfish Head, is what I settled on. But this old guy in like a NASCAR jacket bends down like into the cooler, grabs two 4-pack of Tall Boys of Milwaukee's Best, and then just like gets me, goes, man, this sucks getting old, and then just walks out.
I, if you're grabbing Milwaukee's best, there's no way you get around you being old. And that's,
Dude,
but like, that's okay though. Like, that's
Hams,
just, okay, hams, like, it just like, I've never seen it in the wild. It just populates on like the Walmart beer shelf. And like, I constantly see it in the bottom of people's cart, like when I was out there. And I was like, this is incredible. I didn't know people actually drank this. But like you'd go to like a cookout or something, and anyone over the age of like 65, like you were saying, like Schlitz or Hams, is just like that's what they're drinking.
dude, there's this bar down the street from me. It's called the Bubbler. Uh,
The
The
water fountain.
Babla.
The
Yeah, the
water
bubbler.
fountain.
Well, so it's a thing in like the Midwest area, like
Yeah.
especially where I live. But it's also like, does your dad call it a bubbler, Keegan?
I mean, like, ironically, he called it that growing up,
Because
and
the
then
only other place
now
in the
it's more
world
ironic.
that does it is like New England, is like New Hampshire,
Exactly.
Mass. And so
No,
that's why like
exactly,
I grew up
exactly.
calling it a bubbler.
Yeah.
But the my buddy and I went there. This is before I lived in this neighborhood, actually. I just happened up having to move down the street. My buddy and I went there, and we were just sitting there. We were like, let's just have some beers, split a pizza there, call it good. Um, the bartender was crazy, man. I'll say she was presenting, the whole time, and would just take like, you know, walking into people with a beer bottle in her cleavage and things like that, and like putting credit cards and cash in there whenever she was in between things. And I was like, they had Schlitz in bottles, and I was like, oh, just I was like, oh, I was ripping the Schlitz, and every time she got me into it, she goes, Schlitz gives you shits. It was like she was trash, man. She was taking shots of McGillicuddy's apple and cherry and
Oh,
Smirnoff red, white, and berry, I think.
Oh
oh,
God.
oh
But one of
no.
the most electric moments was there was like a family, like a group of guys, like a family, like, cousins, uncles, nephews, son. And she was like, "Oh, another Miller Lite."
Grandsons.
Yeah. And she was like, "Oh, another Miller Lite, honey." And he goes, "Nope, I'm changing it up. Double Jack and Coke." And all the guys erupted. They thought it was the best moment of the night. I was happy for them.
And that's like when you know, I think there's like a slide towards like a progression of we're hanging out, we're having beers. And when the first person slides to hard liquor or mixed drinks, that's when like there's a teetering point.
Oh yeah. Vibes are different from that moment on.
Yes, yeah, 100%. Because you can't follow up the order of, well, you said it was Jack and Coke, right?
Yeah, double Jack and Coke.
Yeah, double Jack and Coke. Like you can't follow it up and be like, yeah, I'll take one more Miller Lite. Like you now have to kind of match the energy there.
Oh, totally.
And I think that's just the natural progression. That's how God intended maybe a night out to even go. If you aren't planning on just like, there's a difference between going to like, well, this is a brewery though, wasn't it?
No, it's across the street from
Okay,
a brewery, but no, it's
okay,
it's a diviest of dive bar. You go in and it's a
never.
chalkboard on the wall, and it says light. It no, what it says high life light 64 MGD are the first four things,
Yes.
and that's just how like you're just supposed to know it's all Miller products.
Yeah. So okay, so that's like a natural progression then to go to
Yeah,
that at like a dive bar. Like that's like the step. That's a step away from Miller at that point, and now the night will slide a different way for that family.
yeah, that's a place where I don't know if I would. They also have Mango Cart on draft there, which is crazy.
Oh, oh,
It's uncomfortable. Like you're there and you're like, yeah, I will be drinking four of these.
yeah, yeah.
And then it turns an hour later.
I went to a hockey game with James, and like, listen, like, that first mango card hits your lips on draft, especially on draft, and you're like, fuck me.
Dude,
I'm
I would
in.
They had it because they had it on draft. I walked into a Bucks game, that same Bucks game I went to recently with
Hmm.
work. I walked in, I saw they had mango card at the bar right there on draft. I'm like, fuck, I gotta get it. They kicked the keg like a third of the way into my beer, so then I had to sit there and wait for it.
That's such a
Um,
punch in the dick.
no, it is. But then as I'm walking back to catch up with everyone, who do I run into? You guys may not know who this is, but Leapin' Leroy Butler, who is the guy who
Wait,
invented. He is the Packers player who invented the Lambeau Leap.
oh, I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah, he was a safety for the Packers.
And you said, "What's up, my guy?"
Oh well, he was with a group of kids. I looked at him and I go, I know who you are. And then I just like kind of kept. I had two beers in my hand, so I couldn't like. I wasn't about to like set him down, and be like, can I take a picture?
I mean, at that point, just throw them on the kids, take a picture, and then you're good.
No.
Oh, that was a hard stop. Oh my God.
What are you gonna just like assault children with beer?
I'm saying like just go take a picture. If it spills on the kids, it spills on the kids. But like
I don't
I'm not
have.
like you have to like throw it at them.
I agree with that, I guess.
you don't have to
Yeah,
throw it at them. I was just saying take a picture.
fair. The kids are there for a reason.
Golly. Yeah, the kids are a buffer for them.
Yeah. Well, we're also here for a reason, guys, and it's to talk about beer.
Ah,
That
shit.
isn't Mango Cart. So, um, I got a beer that I was gonna review one of this brewery's beers. Um, I was gonna review one of their beers when we did saisons last summer,
Okay.
and then I ended up finding a beer like down the street from me that was cooler. Um, but from this place called Une Ani Brewing in Illinois, their cans are really boring. There's like literally nothing on here. Um, but this is called the Airing of Grievances, which is a Seinfeld reference for those not
You people
informed.
are, I got a lot of problems, and you people are gonna hear
Hear
about
about them.
them.
This is a Belgian-inspired imperial stout at 10.6%.
Oh,
It was like so imperial stout, like it was very similar. Like I would say it almost reminded me of like a typical like Russian imperial stout. It was like deep, heavy, dark chocolate was like the base note of this beer. Um, it was heavy. I probably drank it over a course of like 2 hours. I was just like, this is my one for the day. I'll be sipping. It almost had a similar like spiciness to this, like when you get that like peppery sensation from like hops and stuff. Um, but the main thing I kept noticing, especially as it warmed up, as it like kind of opened and wasn't as cold. Um, you know that like Belgian double or Belgian quad like candy, like because you put like candy syrup in those, like that candy sugar. That's what really stood out to me. Is it like felt like I was drinking like corn syrup partially. Um, I gave this a 4 out of 5. Like it was really, really good, but it's something that like, yeah, it's past my nightcap. It's just one. It's just mine for the. It's just my one for the day.
it tickles the taste buds.
It was an interesting beer for sure. I would recommend it. Like, especially like I know you really like dark beers, Keegan, and so like I would definitely recommend you to try it. But it was it was a weird experience for sure.
Weird experience. All right.
I think that like that concept of having that beer that tastes I like that kind of corn syrupy kind of feel to it, like having that heaviness combined with that sweetness being the beer for the night, especially like what you said was a
10.6.
10.6, like that's a hefty boy. Like that thing can significantly be your night if you truly want it to be. And I think that's like a really sweet spot for like a really sweet kind of heavier feeling beer like that. Like having that kind of sweetness will just kind of kick you into just not just okay, I want to chug this, get it over with. There's almost no way around that, I feel like at that point with how you're describing that.
No, it took like I was like I'm gonna take my time on this beer,
Yeah.
for a lot of reasons.
Right. And I mean like you're giving it a 4 or 5, like a 4 out of 5. Like that's a good rating for a
It
beer. Like you
tasted really
clearly
good.
enjoyed it.
It tasted really
Right.
good. It
Yeah,
was just so unique and weird.
like Keegan and I were kind of talking about it, and like I know Luke has talked in the past where like with stouts and darker beers, a lot of the times like porters, I think is when he brought it up originally, where like you take a sip when it's cold and then you let it kind of mellow out as it warms up a little bit, and it'll open up different flavors. And like that's I think where like a beer like that can really show its like strength like that. So it doesn't just punch you in the face with that syrupiness.
Yeah, and it like I don't want it wasn't quite like those barrel aged stouts we were talking about a little bit. Like some of those can be like pour out like syrup. This one didn't do that. It would definitely look closer to the Sam Smith's oatmeal stout that I just chugged in the meantime.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I did like. I'm gonna be straight up with you. We're a little distracted right now. So Kuz bet his. I'm gonna be expert with you. Kuz bet his dick
No, 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 no.
on the Kansas Arkansas game.
I bet my ads of Rhode Island
he
instituted
bet he
design and
bet
technology.
Scrody. He bet
I bet my
Scrody.
Scrody on
And Kansas lost. So after the episode, we're gonna have a little castration, and then it's all good. But Donnie, I did want to. So I'm gonna again full transparency. When we went to Carmine Street beer, I forgot that I had already tasted a beer. So this is a free beer review. I did want to show you the can. Um,
Extra, extra Bayou juice.
yeah, so you can see like it kind of looks like an alligator. I didn't see it at first. Um, really solid. It's like a hazy double IPA, 8.2%. I think a very sneaky 8.2%. Um,
Also from WeldWorks.
this one is actually from Parish Brewing Company.
Okay, collaboration. I see it now.
Oh, wait, does it say
yeah.
collaboration?
Yeah.
I'm on their
Oh, no
Untapped page.
way. No way. All right.
Parish, I'm trying to think what I've had from them. I've heard of them.
Learn something new every day.
Because WeldWorks I know is out of Colorado. They're a pretty big brewery. I see their stuff. Um,
Yeah, I mean that brewery had a lot of well works, which I guess somewhat surprised with.
yeah, I'm looking at Parish's stuff now. I've seen a bunch of their stuff before. No slaw, extra toast. I think that's the wrong way to order Raisin Canes with that.
Raising Cane's,
Yeah, that's what one of their beers is called. It's no
you
slaw,
have
extra
to
toast.
have coleslaw with
You know,
Raising Cane's.
coleslaw gets a bad rap.
I
Like,
agree. I agree. Also, the only people I've heard this from are Midwest people, so I'm now
All right, so yeah, so
concerned I'm a Midwest
you guys are
person.
both concerned,
No,
confirmed Midwestern.
box combo, extra toast, keep everything else. That's
I
my
like.
order.
I'm okay with you ordering extra toast, but you can't get rid of the coleslaw. It
You
is
can't get rid of the
integral to the
coleslaw.
meal.
You cannot get. I actually really enjoy their coleslaw as a nice. This just does not go with what you just talked about the beer. I'm so sorry. Um, I now need to try their Raising Cane's inspired beer though,
Well, look it up,
or at
man.
least their order inspired beer. But yeah, if you don't order the coleslaw from Raising Cane's, you're missing out on the like part of the experience.
I totally
Um,
agree. I think people are weak if you don't like coleslaw.
their coleslaw pretty mild, has a slight like kind of pepper taste to it. You'll be okay.
But
Enjoy it.
I think people do it on principle, saying that they don't like coleslaw. They're like, well, I don't want to even want to try the coleslaw. Again, I
Yeah.
agree with you. It's a mild coleslaw. Like I like a strong slaw. I'm a slaw aficionado. In fact, that's
Are
my other
you?
podcast. I have beer there slaw that. Whereas I do beer and coleslaw pairings.
But I no, I'm on your side with this. I'm kind of just starting to think it's a Midwest thing to enjoy the coleslaw. You know, my buddies from California, they're slaw haters. I mean,
No, see,
the
like,
crap I get for not
all
ordering
right.
the slaw is nuts.
So Eastern Coast, East Coast, like guy for life. I don't hate coleslaw, but like, but I think there's better parts of the meal. I think
I didn't
it's
say it's the best part of the meal. But I
It's
said it's
I
integral
100% know.
to the meal, like as
I
a
know, but
completeness.
I think yeah, I think it's a respecting coleslaw versus like just wanting what you're going to enjoy more.
the coleslaw.
No, but you're not. Like the coleslaw rounds out the meal. If I'm saying like I know I like that toast more than the coleslaw, why not get double toast? Because I know I'm gonna like it more than the coleslaw, even though
Get rid of their
the
soggy bread.
coleslaw makes it
They make
around.
four things.
Yeah, wait, hold on,
Like
but hold on, wait. Can we? Yeah, this is like if Raisin Canes took this is how you tell like we're a little past a couple beers. Um, if Raisin Canes took Chick-fil-A's waffle fries, they would be the best fast food establishment in the world. Their fries are dog shit. They have good chicken, good toast, coleslaw solid.
I'm on Donnie's side here. The coleslaw is the star of that
That's
meal.
fine. It can be the
I,
start. What I'm saying is I think Raising Cane's, they're doing a disservice by focusing on their fries.
I mean, like I agree what you're saying. I agree, but again, they make four things. Like again, I think the fries are definitely the weakest part. But it's to the point where like you only do four things, and if I can get all four of those things that are half decent at the worst, you know, like in
Fair.
one
That's
meal,
fair.
in every meal, honestly, like I don't know
That's
who's ordering the chicken finger sandwich because it's just a three finger combo on bread. Uh,
that feels a little crazy. Not gonna lie to you. Feels a little
yeah.
crazy. The other thing that was
Anyway,
crazy, honestly, this beer that I had, I significantly, severely, to a fault, enjoyed this beer. Um, it's called Honey Shot, and you can see it says adult only. I actually picked this up when I was looking at can art because I just thought it was like really funny.
honey, I shot the kids.
Yep. So Honey Shot. Uh, I don't know. I'm not sure. I've never seen anything that would be reminiscent of Honey Shot. Um, but I really enjoyed the beer. The smell is like strong honey. And so I was a little worried that like it might be overpoweringly sweet, but it actually wasn't. Like I thought it had a really nice balance. It was definitely like honey and sweetness forward, but overall, I think it did a really good job of kind of balancing it a little bit. It is an 8.2% New England double IPA. Um, so I expected more bitterness. I didn't really get much of that, which honestly I wasn't disappointed about. I think they did a really good job of kind of making this a super well-rounded beer. It's absolutely like without a doubt beyond sneaky 8.2 because drinking this beer like would not expect that at all. And then all of a sudden you stand up and you can't walk. But that's not why we drink these beers. However, it's something I noticed about this beer, and that's it's Alvarium Brewing in New Britain, Connecticut. For those of you keeping score at home,
I will say I do like honey IPAs a good amount as I've had them over time. They always tend to be stronger. Indeed has one called like Blue Wave or something like that. It's like a honey IPA, really good. Classic one, Coos might have had it because it's a Midwestern beer, but a Hop Slam from Bell's Brewing.
Yes. Yeah.
That's like a 10 percenter.
Yes.
That's a classic, dude. That's like a classic Midwestern IPA. I like
I
every year when it comes out, I always get a six pack of it, and I'm just like, yeah, these are like if I'm just needing to start the day, with a good thing, drink one of those.
yeah, I definitely I remember I think the thing that threw me the most is just how available beers and literally any sort of alcohol is out in the Midwest compared to growing up in the Northeast, right? And just I thought that was always one I looked forward to. I think it released like a lot of the times I would always find it like Hy-Vee like in the springtime, like just as the weather was warming up. Like that first 80-degree day, I would just murder one like
It's
right after I got out of work. And it was the perfect start to a night.
it's great, man.
Yeah. I
They
think
I
that's spot on though, with like the sneakiness of it.
Yes, that's a beer where like it is definitely like a in your face IPA. You
Yeah.
also taste honey, but then it's like you drink it and you're like, fuck.
So like, I think there's a time and a place for that, like that feeling. Because if I'm going out for like, just a beer, like to chat with some of my friends or stuff like that, like I don't necessarily want a beer that's gonna make me do that. But when you're done eating pizza and you're like, I want to grab a beer, and you sit down and you're like, fuck, I'm buzzed. Like I think there's such a I'll say such like a fine line to walk. Um that I mean, as a consumer, but also as a producer, that like you walk that fine line between taste and like excessive ABV, where you're like, all right, this is no longer a beer. This is just like boozy, basically.
I believe I drank one at kickoff of the Patriots Titans game from this past year, which is just a game that will live in infamy
The
in my
Drake May
mind.
game, if you will. Kuz is
Dude,
a Dolphins fan, just FYI.
that's criminal. Just on like
Yeah.
Oh, I'm very aware. We don't need to punish me anymore if my team doesn't.
what well so because you're from Rochester, Coos.
Yeah,
Why are
yeah.
you a Dolphins fan?
So my aunt grew up in the 80s watching Marino. When I was 5 years old and very impressionable, she lived in our basement for 6 months. And
That's all it took.
those 6 months aligned with football season, and she bought me a stuffed animal that was a dolphin. And she said this team will bring me happiness and joy, and all it's brought me is sorrow and a love for beer.
Okay, so
Um,
wait. What did you feel the day of the Tyreek Hill trade?
can I be completely honest?
Yes.
Uh, like emptiness. I was like, oh, good, another aging star who's coming to collect a retirement paycheck.
Like
Um,
my buddy who I don't sit next to him anymore. I used to. Who also went to RIT, is a diehard Jets fan.
yeah,
And he was convinced Tyreek Hill was going to the Jets.
I that was the only bright side is that Tyreek Hill wasn't a Jet because
Yeah.
as much as like growing up in Rochester, like I have a special disdain for the Bills. I mean, I'm getting like full beer cans thrown at me as I'm 6 and 7 years old walking into the stadium. I love him.
Yeah, this is my cat Gandalf, Coos.
I'm a cat guy, so
Yeah,
I'll
this is my
just send you some
cat.
pics after this.
Yeah, he's chilling.
But
He's
like
just
I have
harassing
like
me.
a special heart. I have a special place in my heart for like just straight up haters. Because I've experienced no joy, so my joy comes out of the failures of my enemies.
I mean, living in Rochester for 5 years, it's like my disdain for the Bills
Yeah,
is pretty high. And I'd like
it's
it's more people ask me like why I don't have love to give to see their team succeed, and I say you actively give me shit for my team that I had no control over, being like, pulling Tom Brady out of their ass and being the most successful football dynasty of all time, basically.
yeah.
Like, and it's not my fault that I was born around the time of Tom Brady being drafted. Like, I grew up in New England in the 2000s. What did you want me to do?
There's not a more spoiled sports fan than the Boston sports fan from like 2000 to 2019.
Literally, since that last Patriots Super Bowl against the Rams, which was like a shitter game.
Oh, that was a great game. I love defensive football, so I will.
That's what my stepdad says though. He's like, dude, the defense was fucking awesome.
It was a great game. Like if you go back and watch that game, like it's like if you love defensive football, you might get a hard on. I just love it. I'm not gonna lie.
For anyone who listens to this pod who wasn't alive in 2019, Go back and watch the 2019 Super
Parrots.
Bowl. Look, make sure you try and find like an uncensored version of the halftime performance because like every other word Travis Scott said was bleeped out because he was swearing.
Yeah, shout out Rory Varney. Our buddy Justin, he was born in July. Oh, he's coming up on a year soon, like 6 months now or so. Shout out Rory because like he's a forced Rams fan and had to watch the Pats. Didn't watch it because he wasn't alive yet, but his dad had to watch the Pats kick the shit out of the Rams, so that's good.
That's awesome.
I haven't even
That's
seen my team
fair.
win a playoff game.
Yeah, that's kind of tough. Dolphins fans.
The Twin Towers were still up when
All right, buddy, that's a tough subject. We're in New York right now.
Yeah,
I think
who's
we need to move on.
review
We need
your
to move
last
on to
beer,
this beer.
please.
Yeah,
yeah.
we need to move on to the beer. That's a tough
Who,
go.
who's
Your beer, your last beer.
All right, my last beer here. Again, like I really enjoy. Generally, if I'm gonna go like darker beers, I'll lean towards like a porter. I really stuck with the stouts, and I'm not gonna lie, I was a complete label hound when I was looking at these things. And I'll just show it to the camera really quick. It's got like a dessert tray. It's the last course. It's a maple pecan pie, or pecan as I would say it.
That's what you
And
keep under the seat of
it's
your truck.
yeah. It's a 10% ABV from Beer Tree Brew. And this thing hits like an absolute, yeah, I mean, like this thing has just been running me over for the last, like, you were talking about that kind of sweet, like syrupy feeling. Like this seems like it is chasing that kind of syrupy feeling from when you're eating that, like pecan pie. And that's why it's taken me time to get through it. It's not been a laborious 2 hours, but that just sip every couple minutes, it really keeps you coming back because it's one of the few beers that I've had that really kind of encapsulates what it's trying to grab. It has that kind of nuttiness from the pecan. It has that kind of sweet, like brown sugary molasses taste on the aftertaste. And I think I hate to say it's magical. I wouldn't say that this is something I'm going to grab every time. I think that this would have been better if it was the only beer I had for the day, not the like seventh or eighth beer of the day.
Like I said, like with my Belgian
Exactly.
stout, like it was great as my one beer on like a Wednesday, just chilling,
Yes.
sipping, playing video games. Awesome.
End of the day on visiting a couple different like breweries and other beer stops. I'm not saying it's an unenjoyable trip. It's definitely a tougher trip than it should have been. Whereas if I cracked this open and just had this as a solo experience, I think this would have been a better experience.
And I'm glad you can recognize that. I think we talk a lot about situational beers and like time and place. There's certain beers that I don't love if it's just like whenever, but if I'm at a baseball game, like a Kugel's grapefruit shandy just hits like I won't even say.
Crack cocaine, you can say it.
Well, there were these two buildings in New York City. They were right
Right, we
next
said
to
our
each other.
limit of two 9/11 jokes. We're done.
That's gotta be like the quota for the year. I don't know if we can do that anymore. Oh my
I saw an
God.
opportunity and I had to take it.
Wow.
Next time I come in, we're dropping.
You hit that harder than
It burned hot. That joke was so fire, it burned hotter than jet fuel.
oh
It was melting
my
steel beams, man.
God.
All right, I'm done with
This
this.
this episode is cooked. I do have a question for you. We're in the middle of March Madness. My question, say, would you rather lose round of 64, round of Sweet 16, or have your team lose the national championship game? Those are your only three options.
I don't have a team, so I don't give a shit.
Okay, so those are your three options. 16, 64, 16, or lose your dick for the national championship.
Who do you guys have winning it all?
Auburn.
Duke asterisk Cooper flag actually plays.
He will play. He's not that hurt. I have
He's a
Florida because they have the deepest team.
Florida's kind of sick right now.
But do you
Cooper
know? Wait,
Flag,
you
yeah,
want to know my final four?
yeah,
Yeah.
Uh, Florida, Duke, Tennessee, and your I'll say analytics darling, UC San Diego.
yeah, baby, come on.
They
Dude,
play clean basketball, and that's all I ask for in this world.
they're my bracket buster, and I can't wait to see them win tonight. Knock on wood.
Dude,
Um,
they're
I,
really freaking good, man.
I can't wait. I
Dude,
can't wait.
like just other things. I think the Mountain West is going to cause disruptions. I think like Colorado State is very
Basketball.
handedly beating Memphis. Like they are the hottest team in basketball right now. They're fucking on fire. Memphis is not that good of a team. They're just like
Ball knower Donnie.
I go way too
Donnie
hard. I
knows
don't watch college basketball regular season, but I go really deep into the numbers uh on March Madness brackets. Like I fucked up and I didn't pick Creighton to win today, so my bracket's
Hold
fucked.
on. You didn't take Creighton.
Dude, I always pick them because of vibes. They are almost my worry was they're usually like a six, like a 5 through 7 seed, and they were a 9 seed this year, and that's what
All right.
worried me.
I have a beef to pick with the selection committee. I think they criminally underrated the Big East.
Agreed.
And Creighton,
Ball
I'm
knower.
also a biased Omaha fan. I'm clearly rooting for the UNO Mavericks tonight in the upset, but Creighton was never going to lose to those fucking clowns today. The Big
Well, it's
East has a
because
supremacy complex
Louisville's
and
not
they
a
won't recognize it.
Louisville's not a blue blood, but they are a capital B basketball school.
Rick Pitino's not there anymore. And that's all I
No,
have to say about that.
that man's a mob boss, and he like that's all I can say about him.
Hence why St. John's winning the Natty.
Ooh,
All
He's
right,
paying
Keegan,
off everybody.
they can't shoot a three to save it.
and that's what's going to kill them, and that's
Yeah.
what's killing this podcast is that bad take.